Well, now that the 2023 NFL season is officially in the books, let's go ahead and take a look back at every single team and see whether they overperformed, underperformed, or were as advertised. Alright, so for this tier list, we are going to have 5 categories here. We're going to have greatly overperformed, overperformed, as advertised, underperformed, and greatly underperformed. All these categories should be pretty self-explanatory, so let's go ahead and dive right into these. Okay, so we're going to start things off here with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals, let's go ahead and take a look here. I had them going about 4-13, 1-16, somewhere in that range. They ended up ending at 4-13, so I'm going to put them as about as advertised. I didn't expect them to be that great because Kyler Murray did enter the season coming in with an injury, so they are just about an as advertised team for the 2023 season. Moving on to Atlanta, I had high hopes for this team going into this year, and they let me down big time. Going 7-10, I had them going a lot closer to 10-7 than 7-10. So they did underperform. Now, they didn't greatly miss the mark. They did have some bright spots, but I really feel like they were an underperforming unit this year, and they had the potential to do a lot more. So moving on to Baltimore now. Baltimore, I expect them to be competitive. I didn't expect them to go as far as they did, so they did overperform in that regard. They looked a lot better than they have at other times in this season. It really looked like a good season for the Ravens, especially considering they did make a push to the AFC Championship game where they did choke it, but they did overperform. They did beat my expectations. Meanwhile, we're going to go over to Buffalo, where they made the playoffs, yeah, but they really underperformed. I expected them to make it in convincingly and make a bit of a playoff run going into this season, but they didn't. They completely fell flat, and they blew it away in the divisional round, as always. Carolina, I think we all know where you're going. You can't follow up the season that you had with another 2-15 season. I mean, you can't go from, picking number 1 to picking number 1 without your first-round pick. So that is a greatly underperforming year for you guys. Chicago, this might be a hill that I die on, but especially late in the season, statistically, you looked pretty good. If Fields plays that whole season, you very well pick up maybe another win or two, and you're competing for a playoff spot. So I'm going to put you in the overperformed category. I expect you to take a step forward, but I expect you, to be around that 7-10 with Fields playing the whole season. Fields plays the whole game, you guys get 8-9 wins, so you did overperform more than what I expected. Cincinnati, there's no way around it. Y'all underperformed. I mean, I expect y'all to make a playoff berth. I expect y'all to make a bit of a run, and you didn't. Now, it was attributable to Joe Burrow being down, but even then, Joe Burrow didn't look like Joe Burrow this regular season, so there are some concerns there. Once again, it was due to injury, so I'm not going to hit you guys too hard. Plus, you guys did come back and try and fight for a playoff spot, inevitably coming up short, but you guys were decently competitive throughout the whole season. Cleveland, you definitely overperformed. You guys made the playoffs. You guys did it without Deshaun Watson. I don't know if I want to put you in the greatly overperformed category because I did expect you to be solid. I expect you to be, an 11-win team this year going into the regular season, and you guys finished at what? Pulling it up right now. You guys finished right at what I projected you at. So I can't really say you guys greatly overperformed, but you did overperform what I was expecting out of you guys. Going over to Dallas, yeah, we didn't expect them to win the NFC East, but they did. But they had their annual playoff choke in the playoffs. This team's as advertised. They always choke it in the wild card round, and they did spectacularly this season. Denver, you guys are going to be as advertised. You made an improvement over last season, but I expected that step up under Sean Payton. So you guys are in a bit of a quarterback, controversy, a quarterback limbo right now. But as it stands right now, the 2023 season, you guys did perform about where I expected you guys to finish. Moving on to Detroit. Now, I can't say that this team greatly overperformed. To some analysts, yeah, Detroit overperformed significantly. I mean, they went to the NFC Championship game, which is absolutely incredible. But I kind of expected them to make a playoff appearance. I expected them, to make a playoff appearance, maybe make the divisional round. I didn't quite expect them at the start of the regular season to go all the way. I thought it was possible. So that's why they're not greatly overperforming, but they did overperform what I expected. I expected, wild card round, maybe divisional round exit, so can't really say you greatly outdid yourselves. All right, moving on to Green Bay now. I had you guys going 8-9 at the start of the season. You guys finished, I believe it was 9-8. So you guys did overperform in that category, and you did statistically overperform. I was not real high on Jordan Love. I thought he could be solid and serviceable, but I didn't expect him to be really great. He really started coming into his own down the stretch, and it looks like he very well could be the quarterback of the future. So I do want to say you guys did overperform this year. All right, we're going to go ahead and put this one right here. There's no other way around it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Houston was the best team in the league in terms of wins over expected and the overperformance of a team. That was Houston. Now, Indianapolis, you guys did get 2 wins more than I expected at the beginning of the season, and you did that without Anthony Richardson, which I think is really speaks more volumes. I definitely have you overperformed. I'm debating putting you up into greatly overperformed, just because I didn't expect you guys to be great with, without Anthony Richardson. So you had Gardner Minshew. You know what? I'll throw you guys up there. You did that with Gardner Minshew. You managed to pull off the season you had. Throw in Anthony Richardson. You guys are an 11-win team right there, at least. So you guys did pretty much greatly overperform my expectations for you guys. All right, Jacksonville, go ahead and sit your butt down with Carolina down there because, well, we expect you to have that division handedly. Now, I know Houston and Indianapolis greatly overperformed, but there is still no excuse for the stretch you had down the end of the regular season. I discussed that in my Jaguars postmortem, so if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and check it out. But either way, Jacksonville, you guys blew it down the stretch, and that is a mark of an underperforming team and a greatly underperforming team. Kansas City, I would say you're as advertised. I didn't have you go to the Super Bowl. I didn't expect you to go to the Super Bowl necessarily. I thought you'd be in the mix. So definitely you did overperform in how far you made it. But statistically, you just are not looking like the Chiefs we know. Statistically, you underperformed. Performance-wise, you overperformed. So in my mind, that balanced out to an as-advertised team that really just kind of met expectations. Los Angeles, you can go under there and greatly underperformed. The Chargers, I mind you, not the Rams. We'll get to the Rams later here. But the Chargers, you underperformed massively. I mean, I expect you guys to be close to double-digit wins. I actually expect you to be in double-digit wins, and you guys won, 5 games? So, yeah, take your seat down there with Jacksonville, Carolina, buddy. Meanwhile, the other Los Angeles team, you guys, I mean, I'm almost about ready to throw you up into greatly over. I'm gonna throw you up here into greatly overperformed because I had you guys going, 5-6 wins at the start of the season. Your floor was 2-15. Your ceiling was 9-8. To me, I expect you to be a bit closer to that floor in that 5 to 6 win range. You guys smashed that, going up to 10 wins and making a good showing in the playoffs against Detroit. You should have won that, but I digress. I'm still, not over that completely yet. But either way, the Rams did greatly overperform expectations after an absolutely horrendous 2022 season. The Raiders, you guys were about as advertised. I expected you guys to make a little bit of a jump this season, make a little bit more news, a little bit better of a team, I expected that, and you really kind of did that. You got a little better. You looked a little better. You have Aiden O'Connell now being your quarterback, which really looks to be a solid move for you guys. O'Connell's looking pretty solid, especially the last couple weeks of the regular season. Give him a couple good weapons. You guys will be competitive next year, but you guys did take that next step that I expected you guys to take, and now you finally have a head coach, so you guys were as advertised. Miami, once again, you guys were about as advertised. We expected you to be pretty solid this season with Tua. I mean, I had you at the beginning of the season as an 11-6 team, and you guys went 11-6. So that's about all I can say. You guys were as advertised. You made the playoffs. You kind of blew it in the playoffs, but you made it. You made it to the dance, so I really feel like that was what we expected out of you guys. Minnesota, you're going to go into the underperformed category. The only thing that saved you from being greatly underperforming was the fact that you guys did manage to pull 7 wins out somehow, some way. I expect you to take a little bit of a step back, maybe to be a 9-10 win team. You guys only pulled off 7. Yeah, part of it was because Kirk Cousins went down, but at the same time, you guys did underperform compared to what we were hoping and expecting to see out of you guys. Going over to New England, let's see here. I had you guys at 6-11. I'm going to put you guys under underperformed. You guys went 4-13 on the year. I had you guys at 6-11, so it's not really a huge step down from what I was hoping and expecting to see, but it is nonetheless a step down. Overall, New England not really looking great, and now there's a bit of a quarterback quandary going on over there with Gerard Mayo being the new head coach. So we'll see what happens, but you guys really failed to meet expectations at all. New Orleans, you're going to join New England in the underperforming category. I expected you guys to be somewhat competitive. I actually had you as an 11-6 team right before the start of the season. And you guys, let's go ahead and double check here real quick, but you guys really didn't meet that at all. You guys only went 9-8, and you guys struggled in games that you should have easily won. There were times where it's like, oh, this is an easy Saints victory with the roster they got, and then they blew it. So can't really put you guys in as advertised because you did blow some key games, and you did pull a couple games under what I was expecting to see. Moving on now to the Giants. You know what? We'll do both New York teams because they both go in the same spot. Both New York teams greatly underperformed. The Giants, we expected to take that next step with Daniel Jones, especially considering how the Giants went in 2022. We expected you guys to make another big leap forward. You guys instead took a massive step backwards. And New York Jets, you underperformed, but there is a caveat. There is an excuse to your underperforming. These other teams don't really have much of an excuse, but you guys do, in the fact that your quarterback did suffer a season-ending Achilles tear week 1. So you were back to Zach Wilson once again. If it was Zach under center, I would have expected you to be about 6-7 wins, give or take. And looking at that, you guys finished at 7-10. So you did about where I was expecting to see you guys if Rodgers didn't play. So that's your caveat there. Philadelphia, there's no way around it. You guys underperformed. You guys had the expectations of making it back at least to the NFC divisional round, at the very least. And you guys didn't even make, you guys made the playoffs, I believe, but you guys got blown out the wild card round by the Buccaneers. So how can I justify putting you guys any higher than underperforming? Because you guys did not make it far in the playoffs. You didn't make a push. You didn't do anything. You guys collapsed and crumbled this season. Pittsburgh, I'm going to throw you guys in the as advertised category. I had you at the regular season being, 12-13 win team. You guys only went 10, but you guys did start picking up steam because you guys finally fired Matt Canada. You got him out of the building, which, you guys were going to be set to underperform, but the fact that you guys did that put you as about an as advertised team. I expect you guys to at least be double-digit wins. You guys did. You guys made the playoffs, and you tried to fight hard against Buffalo. You kind of blew it in the wild card game, but at the same time, you were competitive in the first half. I'll give you that. So, overall, Pittsburgh, you guys were about as advertised, although I'm not really too keen on that Arthur Smith hiring, so expectations might be low next year. You better overperform. Moving on now to Seattle, you guys are about as advertised once again. We expected you guys to be a competitive team. You were. You stayed in it throughout the whole season. Looking at it once again, your record-wise, you guys finished at 9-8. At the beginning of the season, I had you guys at 9-8. So you guys did exactly what I expected you guys to do. And unfortunately, you failed to make the playoffs, but you guys were as advertised. San Francisco, same deal. You guys were as advertised. We expected you to, make it to the playoffs and make some noise. I had you guys at 13-4. You guys went 12-5. So, you guys underperformed in the win column a little bit. But that was also because you guys had the 1 seed clinched up. So you guys did not start your starters against the Rams in the last week. So, can't really count that against you guys. And overall, you guys did what we expected out of you guys. You made the playoff run, you made it deep, and now you're in the Super Bowl. So, as advertised. Tampa Bay, I'm going to throw you guys in the greatly overperformed category. At the beginning of the season, I wasn't too high on you guys. I thought Baker was a very inconsistent quarterback, that he would give you one great week and then one bad week. He would look like Tom Brady, then he would look like Johnny Manziel. And he didn't. He was very consistent. His floor was about, a middle-of-the-road quarterback, and his ceiling was a really good quarterback that we have seen at times out of Baker Mayfield. So you guys pretty much doubling. Yeah, you guys did more than double what I expected in the win column. So you guys greatly overperformed. Plus, that wild card win also helps. And Tennessee and Washington, you guys are both going to go in the as-advertised category. I expected you guys to be kind of low to middle-range teams, and that's exactly what you were. Tennessee making the move now with their quarterback situation now being under Will Levis. And you have Washington, who finally let go of Ron Rivera. I know that Ron was a great coach back in his day, but the game might have passed him by a little bit. So, time for a change in Washington. They finally made it. And overall, these two teams made some changes, and they're going to have some shakeups in the offseason. But overall, as for 2023, they were about what we expected out of them. Alright, well this is going to be the final list for my tier list for how the teams did relative to expectations in 2023. If you guys did don't forget to smash like and subscribe, as it does help me out a whole lot. And also, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the video right in front of my face right now. It's one that YouTube thinks you will like, so why not go ahead and check it out and support the algorithm. And with that, I will see you guys later. Peace out and have a good one.